Hey, what's going on, y'all? So in this video, we are going to be going over the secret to landing high-ticket paying clients using paid ads. Without further ado, let's jump into it. So when you're actually running ads, everything's going to start with your actual creative, of course. So that's going to come down to the hook, the messaging, the call to action, and ultimately what's going to be pushing people over to either maybe a Facebook lead form, direct website visit. There needs to be some sort of objective, right? So when it comes to creating ads for the first time, a big part of what we need to be doing is testing the angles. And when you're building out different creatives, think of this like fourth grade science. We want to have a control variable and we want to have things that are changing, but we need something to remain constant. What I mean by that is let's say you have a brand new offer and you're looking to test it to see how the market reacts to it. What you're going to want to do is have the actual creative or the visual on screen stay the same and the differentiator be the actual copy. So maybe on one of them it's a hey, I can book you 30 sales calls. On the other it's hey, I can get you 10 clients. On the other it's like hey, I can increase your revenue. And then from there, based on the analytics and your conversions, you'll be able to see which one's going to be a winner from that set. So of course it's going to depend on your budget, but the key things that you're going to want to test are your hooks. It's going to be your messaging angles, the pain points and the outcome positioning, the call to action. So what we typically do is launch these ads and then we allow the market. We allow unbiased users that are coming across these ads and engaging with them or lack thereof to be the dictator of if this is a winning ad or not. Now, once we've identified the best winning ads, we'll be able to compile the best hook, messaging, and offer alignment for this offer. And from there, once we have all of the specifics of the script down and the hook, then we can go and turn around and start testing the visuals in which the hook will remain the same, messaging the same, offer positioning CTA the same, and we're testing maybe different faces, maybe different genders, see if a woman converts better, which, pro tip, it usually does. Usually gets better click-through rate if you have a female on screen compared to a male being on screen. So the actual ad creatives is a mere component in all of this, right? I've just posted a video right before this one going over how to create winning creatives using AI UGC content, actually building them out using AI, which really fast tracks and accelerates a lot of the creative design process setting this up, especially if you're not artistic or you're not very good at editing. I highly recommend using AI for it. I'll go ahead and leave a link to the video here. I'll also put it in the description. Definitely go check that one out after watching this one. It'll provide some more value on how to actually build the physical creatives themselves. Now, moving on, once we have that traffic generated and we're getting attraction, we're getting clicks, usually I recommend doing a learn more objective. So where they're clicking the link, they're learning more. It's then going to push them over to a funnel. So then the strategy becomes, okay, how do we want to procure these leads? So speaking specifically from like a sales call standpoint, of course the objective is going to be booking the sales call. So you'll notice the end objective on all of these different funnel variants is going to be the fact that there's a calendar. Now, the first funnel one is going to be a direct landing page. So someone just came from the ad, they click learn more, they're now on the initial landing page. Maybe there's some copy on there and we're immediately prompting them to book in on our calendar. Separately, funnel two, after they click over, let's say there's a opt-in page where we have to get their information first, name, email, phone number, and then there may be some qualifying questions. How much money are you making? How many clients do you have? What industry are you in? And then we allow them to book in. Or we have funnel three, where we have that same opt-in page. Maybe there's a VSL explaining a little bit more about the offer to really qualify and make sure this is the right fit for the person watching. And then we may have that same qualification question or application form, and then the calendar, right? So the main difference between all of these is going to be the quality of leads that get yielded from this. However, you have to understand that yes, funnel three is going to have the best quality leads, but it's also going to have the worst overall conversion of sales calls booked. So really want to so if you have a brand new offer, highly, highly, highly recommend you go with the concept of funnel one, because at this point, your offer isn't very validated. You just need sales calls booked and you need live data. You need live conversations with leads on these sales calls to see how the quality is doing in the first place. Oftentimes, once you start getting a ton of booked appointments and maybe you get some people that don't fit the mold, maybe you get some tire kickers here and there, that's how you know you're ready to then add a funnel two step to qualify those leads a little more. You'll get overall less appointments booked now, but the idea is you'll get more quality appointments. You want to set up a firewall, as I like to call it. So let's say you're working with home service businesses. The first question you need to ask on the opt-in form, are you a home service business? If they put no, you need to disqualify them and not even allow them to book in a call with you. Especially when you have a pixel in the back end, we need to make sure that this is clean data after all. Now you can ask some other questions like financial questions. One thing that I'll usually do with conditional logic is if a business owner is making under 10K a month, I don't let Meta know about that. Sure, they can book in a call with me. I have a downsell after all, but I'm not going to give Meta that data because this is an unqualified lead. So that's going to be the concept there, the opt-in page, asking qualification questions, doing data collection. So I will say one nuanced benefit to this opt-in page that Funnel 1 doesn't have. So I got this from a fellow marketer of mine. His name's Maher. Really cool guy. He's a big believer in owning your traffic. So if you have a straight landing page to calendar funnel, you're not going to get any opt-in data collection because the only form of data collection is when a lead books in. Comparatively, the opt-in is a lot more of a low barrier of entry. People are more likely to just give you their name, email, and phone number, of course, than they are to actually book in a time. So you will get leads come through the door that you can then do re-nurturing on. If you have an appointment setter, or if you're like me and use AI appointment setters, then they will reach out with all these opted-in leads that didn't make it to that sales objective to eventually, in the future, book those additional people in that dropped off. So that's really going to be the difference there. And then funnel 3 is going to provide you with the cleanest leads. However, it's going to be the most expensive means of getting leads booked on your calendar. Having a funnel 3 set up, you could be looking at maybe $100 cost per booked call, whereas funnel 1, you're looking at maybe a $25 cost per booked call. But the difference is, you pay $25, so let's say 4 leads for $100, but the quality of each lead is kind of shitty compared to one really qualified lead for an ideally productive sales call. So I would recommend following the order of operations if you don't have a validated offer. If you already know your target market, if you already know the qualification questions and you don't want to waste time with BS sales calls, I'd recommend going with funnel 2 or 3, having that qualification questions, having the opt-in firewall, and essentially making it hard for people that aren't supposed to be there to book in. Because the only time someone would continue to go through a funnel where clearly they're not a home service business, or clearly they're not making any money, or clearly they don't have any clients, they're not running ads or anything like this, all these questions to tell them to fuck off. If they continue to pump through, it's probably a funnel hacker, which happens. It's just part of it. But for the most part, this will provide you with very straightforward data. And then with all of these, I recommend doing a website schedule objective to where on Meta's end in the analytics, just to kind of show you guys in here for a second. This is what a website schedule objective will look like. So sales calls booked. So with mine, like 82 sales calls booked here, 14 here. This is with qualified business owners. So mind you, we are looking at expensive results here. But with where I'm at in my business now, like it really doesn't bother me because I would rather spend a few $100 and, only hop on qualified sales calls with people that actually have interest in this. This campaign did get a little pricey. I went broad because I was trying to target a few different industries at the same time. All that to say, if you do get niche, you are going to have likely a cheaper cost per result. All of my students that are getting extremely niche, like, doing water restoration or doing roofing or doing or doing like online fitness coaching, the more specific you get, as far as them going through your funnel, seeing all the messaging from a leads perspective, okay, this is meant for me. Like if I'm a fitness coach and all the messaging I'm seeing is like, oh, we've helped this many fitness coaches get to this result. It's gonna be a lot more straightforward to want to book in a call with a person like that or with a funnel like that that has that type of messaging. So moving on, just to give you like a quick like theory example. So let's say we're running ads and we have 1,000 page views, people that saw our ad creative and actually clicked learn more. So now they're on our funnel, they're in our funnel. So if we go off of the example of funnel 2, so we're going to have an opt-in firewall. So on that initial firewall, we want to push, of that 1,000 people, we want to push the people away that aren't meant to be there with our qualification questions to make sure that we're getting clean data, that it's our exact ICP, ideal client profile of the target audience that we're looking to sell to. So let's say of this 1,000, we get 20 to 40% conversion rate. And honestly, this is a pretty big fucking jump. So just to kind of ignore this 40 because 20 is a lot more realistic, especially with cold traffic. Sometimes the numbers are honestly looking at 10%, 5%. It's going to depend the industry, but the idea is let's say we get 20% opt-ins over to our calendar, in which case we were booking calls for, we'll say ballpark $80. So 1 in 4 people that opted in actually booked in a call with us, right? So we're spending $80 to get a qualified call booked with someone that's meant to be there because they made it through the opt-in, so they're qualified. And from there, it's just going to be about closing them. And the reason I love high ticket industries is because this is so rinse and repeat. I usually try not to work with anyone that has under a $2,000 ticket price. That being said, some of my clients where we're selling packages that are like 6,000, 8,000, like a couple $100 to take some sales calls is nothing in the grand scheme of things when we're ripping like an 8x ROAS, return on ad spend. And another thing to note, like to really complement all of this, I know I said this before, and it's also because I run an AI company. The back end is going to be so important because some of these opt-ins are not going to close. They may not even book. We like in this example we just talked about, 1 in 4 book an appointment. So what about that other 3 of the 4 that didn't book in? You need back end automations. I have a stack of AI appointment setters on all messaging platforms, reaching out to them. Also, if you have like a dialer on your team, I highly recommend using them. My most successful clients that we've created builds for are the ones that have a sales guy on deck that's handling all the leads that the AI is talking to, and the AI essentially will do some lead scoring. So anyone that's having a conversation with a lead or has been proposed the call, maybe they haven't booked in yet, they're subject to getting a call. They better get a call because they're having some sort of interest. We need to push them in, right? We need to push them to book a call. And then, of course, the AI is nurturing people and is capable of booking calls as well. But full transparency for everyone out there that's selling like voice dialers right now, as someone that sells AI for a living, voice dialers are not all that just yet. I'm a firm believer like 1v1, a human appointment setter, like a human dialer is going to do better than an AI dialer, right? So the strategy that we do is we have our AI agents that are on messaging channels on Instagram DMs, Facebook DMs, SMS, iMessage, email, WhatsApp, being the groundwork in filtering through all the bullshit, all the leads that maybe we're just window shopping, destined to never respond, ghosting. AI handles all these initial touch points, which are lifeless usually for a normal appointment setter to sit there and waste time following up with people that weren't going to respond. So the AI handles all of this, especially at scale when you're having thousands of leads come through the door. The AI essentially scores everyone. So people that do show interest that are qualified. So now the dialer only has to take like 5 calls with some hot leads that were already very interested and just needed maybe an additional touch point. So that's really the best of both worlds. So with all of my most successful clients, that's exactly how we like to model the sales process, where the AI is the front line of defense. It's still very much a backbone, but let's be real. We're not here to let money fall through the cracks. So AI is the initial touch point. Yes, it can book people in, and it usually does book in people. But having an additional person there, typically it's just one of the closers already because they're only taking the calls with the hot people that have already talked to the AI a little bit. So that's usually how we go about that. Don't get me wrong, in the future, dialers are going to be a lot more prevalent. I've done plenty of dialer builds before, but more recently, I've just found to where like the best of both worlds is automations and AI for messaging, text messaging, and then, for voice calls, having a human is still going to get the best rapport. Anyways, all that to say, this is kind of like the engine, the flywheel, money in, money out, as I like to think of it. So we're running paid ads, we're booking sales calls. In the back end, ideally you have a sales team or processes or automations that are assisting in booking sales calls as well to make the most of the money that we're paying for on ads. We're targeting our ICP, and then with the ICP, there's a lot of value in taking the sales calls and understanding the quality of the people showing up. And then based on the quality or lack thereof, you can refine your offer, refine your ads, refine your funnel accordingly. For instance, if we're taking a bunch of calls with broke motherfuckers that are constantly bitching about price or their objection handling price, and it's like, oh, I can't afford this. Okay, well, we have a ICP problem. We have a lead problem. The leads we're going after don't fit the mold. So maybe we, instead of targeting guys working dead-end jobs, we need to go after guys working corporate jobs or college-educated people, for instance. Or, let's say you're a fitness coach and we're targeting like sports advocates. Most of those guys are already sporty. They don't need help. We need to be targeting maybe like women in their 40s looking to lose some weight. They're going through menopause right now, right? So what I'm getting at is like the sales calls you take are ultimately going to provide a lot of value into how your current ad is engaging with people. And, face to face, you get to see like what some of these leads look like, which is important to turn around, refine your offer, refine your ads, your messaging, so that in the future, when you continue to run on paid ads and book more sales calls, they'll ideally fit your ICP, and that's how you know you have a good thing going. You're ready to increase ad spend. If you got an AI backend like my clients do, then increasing ad spend doesn't do anything to the AI's performance. It'll just allow us to book more calls at scale because an AI can have thousands of conversations simultaneously. That's why I love setting up automated systems like this. And then once you've got a good ad campaign going, the name of the game is going to be, okay, cool, we're on top. We got some winning creatives, winning messaging. The job does not stop there. I've seen so many people have some great short-term success, but then as soon as their one ad that was a honey hole dies out, gets creative fatigue, the people it was targeting, everyone's seen it, you've already drained it for what it's worth, suddenly their lucrative business went to zero. And that's because they weren't doing continued creative testing. So what this means, I usually recommend allocating about 20% of your overall ad budget to continued creative testing. And the other 80% is going to be for your winning ads. So with creative testing, what this means is you're constantly forward thinking. For any of the clients we're running ads for, even for my own business, I'm constantly launching new ads in a given month. And it's so I can identify the next winner. Because, the truth of the matter is, you're likely not going to get your winner on the first go around. So by having in the background continued creative testing, you can identify new winners over time, and it's a lot more passive when you just have in the mindset, okay, it's week 2, I know I need to launch new creatives. Depending on budget is also going to dictate how frequently you need to introduce new creatives. For instance, if you're doing anything under $100 a day for your budget, you only need to introduce new creatives a couple times a month. But if you're spending thousands of dollars a day on ads, which would put us at tens of thousands of dollars a month on paid ads, you need to be introducing new creatives on a weekly basis or a bi-daily basis, constantly introduce new creatives. If you go on Facebook Library right now and you look up Alex Hormozy, bro's got dozens of ad creatives that he's running right now. And it's because his budget's disgustingly high, and so he has a lot of wiggle room that he can work with. He's got some converting ads, he's got some testing ads, he's got some retargeting ads. Now, the idea is that this will now hedge against creative fatigue. We'll have that refresh cycle, and then any of the new winners within that 20% allocation, you eventually want to promote over to your 80% allocation of budget. And this will allow you to scale stably and not have to worry about feast and famine scenarios where you had a winning creative and then it died and you spend the next few months trying to figure out a new winner. It pops off, you make a bunch of money, and then it's just constant miserable cycle. Having continued creatives going out is honestly a big part of what a lot of marketing agencies and media buyers do to stay busy or to stay valuable to clients these days. And then when it comes to retargeting, what's cool in Ads Manager, I'll show you guys here. On Ads Manager, you're able to set up to where you can track video plays on how much of the video someone watched. So what I'll often do, of course, we'll also use a pixel and we'll retarget people that opted in and gave us their data. But another cool retargeting thing I recommend, see, look, I've got 2,000 people that watched at least 95% of my video. So they watched the entire fucking video. But usually I'll also go with 75% because I'll usually do an interim CTA, so some people may drop off just because they're interested. That's 3,000 people, 3.4K people, right? So these are some easy money target audiences that you can retarget and make a custom audience out of on Ads Manager and then shoot off additional marketing to as well. Now, the cool part about retargeting campaigns is they're extremely low budget. Literally a couple dollars a day is all you need. Because from a monthly standpoint, let's say you do $5 a day, 5 times 30, $150. If you spend $150, that'll likely get you a couple thousand views, right? And so, in the grand scheme of things, we only needed that couple thousand views in the first place. So you can really get away with doing retargeting at low budget, and it works wonders. That's the thing. Obviously the top of funnel campaign is going to get that traffic, get the attention, get the eyes on the page, but retargeting is such an easy money, straightforward thing to do, just because we already identified of the flock who was clearly interested by the fact that they're watching this full video, and there's not enough of them in sample size to where we need to blow money or break the bank on this. So a lot of the allocation stays at that 80%. 80% is for top of funnel. In fact, you could even get away with getting cheeky and doing maybe 18% for creative testing and 2% for retargeting on your overall allocation. And something like that would allow you to get a good thing going as far as testing goes, making sure we're getting good conversions, making sure we're getting conversions over to the landing page, over to the sales calls, booked sales calls, and then of course, at this point, we're going back to the flywheel, okay? Is that ICP? Is it someone interested? Do we make a sale? If yes, cool. up ad spend? If no, maybe we need to refine the offer, refine our targeting, our messaging, so that next time around, next sales call, this person fits the mold of who we're going for. But yeah, guys, that's all for me. I hope you found some value in this video. If you're new to this page, check out some of my other videos. I have a ton of videos on ad strategy, funnel building, setting up automations for your backend. Literally, this entire YouTube channel is about booking sales calls for high ticket industries. So if that's something you're looking to do, you came to the right place. I would really appreciate it if you dropped a like or subscribed. I usually don't ask that, but I really do appreciate you guys and all the support I've been getting lately. I'm going to continue to post videos and continue to be transparent. Again, we don't gatekeep on this page, baby. And on that note, I'll see y'all in the next video.